Welcome once again to Ask the Techies. You may recall in a previous video that I did a review of the Flip Cam Mino HD, and I mentioned a Kodak Zi8. Well, got one. So I want to give you a little bit of a review and let you know what features this one has and how it compares to the Flip Cam so you can make a better purchasing choice as to what might be best for you. The Kodak Zi8 is comparable in price to the Flip Cam, only it is true high definition. It is 1080. In fact, it gives you options to shoot in 720 as well. What I mean by that is 1080 is the pixels. That's how big of an image that you actually get. 1080 gives you a lot more than 720, about 50% more. And so that gives you a little more room to be able to zoom in on what you've got to be able to do some things like that. It also gives you an option to shoot in standard definition, which allows you to get more video on your memory card. That's something the Flip Cam does not give you a choice for. It only shoots in 720. So this one has a 1080 shoot, a 720 shoot. It also has a 720 at 60 frames per second, which would be good for like a sporting event where there's a lot of action. And the standard definition. And it also has a 5 megapixel camera thing that it can take images with as well. So it can also be a still camera for you. It's lightweight, very similar to the Flip Cam, maybe a little bit larger, but it is lightweight. It is high definition. It has analog and HDMI outputs, and includes the cables as well, both cables. If you go on the side here, you find the HDMI port and AV right there. And basically you just hook that up to your TV and you can watch whatever videos you've got on the camera somewhere else, like on your TV set, without having to worry about exporting and burning a DVD, etc., etc. You get true high definition. That's something the Flip Cam was not offering. It was only offering analog SD, standard definition output. So you lost a lot of your video content. It does have a macro setting as well. If you look up here at the top, if I can get that on the camera very good, you can see there's kind of a mountain view, and then over here there's like a flower, if you can make that out very well. But basically there's a little switch, and you slide that switch, and now I'm in like normal view, like you're taking video of mountains and stuff like that. The flowers when you want to get really up close. And that's one of the things the Flip Cam didn't offer you. You couldn't get more than 2 feet. You couldn't get any closer than 2 feet away from your subject. So if you wanted to get up something close, like, I don't know, insects, flowers, detail. In fact, we're pulling up some video here of the cell phone to give you an example of how close it can go in with the macro setting. You can see dust on the cell phone. So that should be a big plus to it as well, that you can do up close as well as distance shooting. It has a digital zoom, but like the Flip Cam, the digital zoom is useless. I mean, a digital zoom is digital. It just pixelates the video. If you're going to do that, you might as well zoom in your video editing program, like an iMovie, where you can actually zoom in on the video. Like the Ken Burns effect, you could do things like that to resize. And that's the big advantage of 1080. 1080 not only gives you true HD, but you can actually zoom in a little bit and still get pretty darn good video, especially if you're going to shrink it down for the web anyway. Even if you put it on YouTube in HD, it's still going to be 720 pixels, not 1080. So at 720, you still got like 50, a lot of pixels there that you can actually zoom in, and it's going to look just as crisp because you got some extra pixels that you can throw away. That's like getting a 14 megapixel camera. It gives you a little bit more space to be able to crop an image to make it fit the way you want. So you can pan across the video and zoom in. It gives you a little more space. So if you get things off center a little bit, then that can be helpful to you. Which brings me to another point. The size of the screen is a lot bigger. If you remember my previous video, I commented about how let me get a good shot on that screen. There you go. I commented how you could cover it up with a finger. This one, I'd have to do at least 2 fingers, maybe 3 fingers to cover it up. It's a much larger screen. In fact, if you can see that here as well, just from a distance, you can actually make out the screen a little bit. And the plus to this is, remember the example I had about at a concert? You're trying to up here and trying to take a shot. Oh, have I got it? Well, you can actually see if you've actually got it in the shot. Because it's big enough, you can actually see what you're doing. One caveat to that is the viewing angle on this is pretty good when I look straight on. And if I'm off to the side, I can see it pretty well. And I'm off to this side, I can see it pretty well. And if I hold it down here, I can look down at the screen and see it pretty well. But when I'm up here, the viewing angle from below, it's not very good. And so one trick you might want to try doing is you could flip it over and record that way, hold it up, and still do your recording. And then when you get into something like iMovie or whatever video editing program you've got, you can flip it, do a 180, and then it'll be right side up, but it'll help you to be able to see it. So if you have difficulty, that might be a workaround that you hadn't thought of. It does have image stabilization, which is really good because, you know, it's handheld. And that's one thing the flip cam did not have. It's so easy for these things to appear jerky because they are so lightweight. And one of the great things about it being lightweight is you can just slip it right there into your pocket. Just slip it right in. It fits easily. It's lightweight. You don't even notice it in your pocket. It's not weighting down. In fact, my keys probably weigh more than this does. So that's very lightweight. You're going to like that. And so heavier cameras, it's easier for you to hold steady. But with this one, you might want to turn on the image stabilization. It's in the settings on the camera. In fact, let me go ahead and show you a little bit about some of the settings that are in here. Basically, there's the key buttons are here on the side, and you got this is the tools button. I don't know if you can make that out very well, but there's the trash button, play. Let me go ahead and turn it on. The power button's a little hidden. It's off to the side. It's recessed a little bit, but you turn it on, and it lights up red, lets you know that it's on. And then it gives you a choice as to what you want to shoot. If you want to see that again, this is a toggle switch. You slide this to the left, and you can choose. Now it's set for camera. Now it's WGA, 720. Basically, it cycles through the different ones as I go through it. We'll pull that in a little better so you might be able to see that better. And so you can see how it's cycling through whatever version I want to shoot at. But if I click on the Tools button, then in here it gives me all the settings, set the date and time. I can adjust the brightness of the screen. I can turn the volume on and off for the speaker so it beeps, you know, whenever you start recording. You probably want to have that on though because you may not know if you actually are recording or not without that beep. The microphone settings, here's one thing I do want to talk quite a bit about, and that is the flip cam had a built-in microphone. This one has a built-in microphone. They're both about equal, but on this one, you might think it's worse because it doesn't pick up the audio very well. Well, here's where you can actually manually adjust by going to the setting how loud you want the volume to be on the microphone. Because it may, the default setting may be a little too low. So all you have to do is push on the button once you've selected, come up here, and once you've selected it, you just push the red button here, and then you just pull it to the right to increase it, or you slide it to the left to decrease it. And so, I don't know if you can see there's a little red dot that's actually moving just a little bit when I do that. Okay, so there's all cranked all the way up. And then I can hit the Tools button again. And then over there is where I can turn on the image stabilization, and the check mark tells me that it is on, which is good. We do want that on. That's some face recognition. I'm not sure how good that is. And SD, something I should point out here is this does use SD memory. With the flip cam, it gave me 1 hour video, max. That was it, 1 hour. After that, you had to connect it to a computer, the camera, the whole, you know, you couldn't just take out the memory. You have to connect it to the computer and get it off of there before you can shoot anymore. This one comes with an SD card. And because you can get a larger SD card, like 32 gigabyte one, you can shoot up to 10 hours of video on this thing. And that gives you a lot of recording. You're going on vacation, or whether you're trying to shoot class lectures, student activities, that sort of thing, you're going to need more than an hour. And so this thing can give you more because of that, as well as because it's removable media. All you got to do is take it out. Let me show you where that is. It is a little hard to find that. The SD, it's right there. It says SD. And to open it up, it doesn't have any clear way to how to open it up, but basically you just grab the side of this with your fingernail, pull it out, and there's your SD card that you can pop in. And you can take it out and do another one. For instance, where I work at James Madison University, one of the things you can do is a faculty member could take out the SD card, drop it off to us, we could import it and prepare it for our streaming server, and they can still have their camera pop in their other SD card and continue to record other activities while we're working with the other video. So it's like a tape almost. You can just swap out tapes. And that's a great way to go. If something does go bad, you can add more. So I think that's a great feature. To get out of the tool sets, by the way, you just click one of these over here. You can see these other buttons. It's basically one's a camera button and one's a play button. If you hit the play button, brings this up. There's the trash can. It makes it really easy to delete. It's easier to delete videos off of this than it was on the flip cam. So I think it's really cool that way. Now, by the way, internal mic, I mentioned not as good, but I do want to point out to you one other cool little feature it's got in that